Continued from Part 1. In the summer and autumn of 1776, the British mounted a massive campaign to crush the rebellion. A fleet in force under General William Howe descended on New York, defeating Washington's army at Long Island, August, Brooklyn Heights, and White Plains. The Americans were outmaneuvered and outnumbered. New York City fell and became a British base for the rest of the war. Washington's forces retreated across New Jersey, morale plummeting, enlistments expiring. Some feared the revolution might end in its first full year. Then, on Christmas night, 1776, Washington took a risk. He led a freezing, nighttime crossing of the Delaware River to surprise a garrison of Hessian troops at Trenton in the early hours of December 26th. The attack was a sharp victory. A week later, he struck again at Princeton, January 3, 1777, mauling British detachments. These were small battles by European standards, but huge in psychological terms. They showed that the Continental Army, even battered, could seize the initiative. The war remained brutal. In 1777, a British army under General John Burgoyne marched south from Canada, intending to cut off New England by controlling the Hudson River. Instead, Burgoyne's army bogged down and, after two key battles at Saratoga, September and October 1777, surrendered to American forces under Horatio Gates, with important contributions from Benedict Arnold before his later treason. Saratoga was a hinge. It convinced foreign observers that the Americans could win. That winter, Washington's army went into camp at Valley Forge, outside Philadelphia, 1777 to 1778. Conditions were harsh, inadequate supplies, disease, and cold. Yet it was there that Baron Friedrich Wilhelm von Steuben, a Prussian officer, instituted systematic drilling, standardizing tactics and discipline. The Continental Army that emerged in the spring was more professional and cohesive. News of Saratoga reached Europe. In February 1778, the United States and France signed two treaties. A treaty of amity and commerce, recognizing American independence and opening trade. A treaty of alliance, committing both sides to fight Britain until American independence was secured. French aid, already flowing quietly in the form of arms and supplies, now became official. French money, officers such as the Marquis de Lafayette, soldiers, and especially fleets entered the war. In 1779, Spain joined the conflict against Britain as an ally of France, though not formally of the United States. Fighting spread to the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and Gibraltar, and into the Indian Ocean. The American Revolution had become part of a broader global war among empires. For Britain, this meant dividing resources across multiple theaters. No longer was North America the sole or even primary concern. After stalemate and frustration in the North, British strategists turned south, believing they could tap supposed Loyalist strength in the Carolinas and Georgia. In 1778, British forces captured Savannah, Georgia. In May 1780, after a major siege, they took Charleston, South Carolina, capturing thousands of American troops in one of the worst American defeats of the war. In August 1780, they crushed an American army under Horatio Gates at Camden. At first glance, the British Southern strategy seemed to be working, but occupation bred resistance. In the Carolina backcountry, vicious civil war erupted. Patriot and Loyalist militias harassed, raided, and executed one another. British commander Lord Cornwallis found that holding territory required constant movement and garrisons in hostile countryside. American leadership adapted. Congress replaced Gates with Nathaniel Greene, a Rhode Island Quaker-born general who adopted a strategy of fighting, retreating, and wearing down the British rather than seeking one decisive battle. Key engagements followed. October 1780, Kings Mountain. Frontier militia defeated a Loyalist force in South Carolina, blunting British influence in the interior. January 17, 1781, Cowpens, General Daniel Morgan, under Greene's overall command, used a clever deployment, militia in front, Continental troops in reserve, to inflict a sharp defeat on British forces under Banastre Tarleton. March 1781, Guilford Courthouse. Greene's army withdrew from the field, but British casualties were heavy. Cornwallis's army emerged tactically victorious but strategically weakened. Cornwallis pushed into Virginia, hoping to link up with other British forces and strike its supply lines. Instead, he would trap himself. By 1781, French and American leaders saw an opportunity to strike a decisive blow. Washington, commanding American and French troops around New York, faced a British force that was strong and well entrenched. But when word arrived that a powerful French fleet under Admiral de Grasse would sail for the Chesapeake Bay, Washington and French commander Jean-Baptiste de Rochambeau devised a bold plan: leave the New York area quietly and march their combined armies south to Virginia. In late summer 1781, they moved with speed and secrecy. British commander in New York, Sir Henry Clinton, misunderstood their intentions until too late. Meanwhile, Cornwallis had chosen to fortify his position at Yorktown, a small port on a peninsula between the York and James rivers. He expected to be supported or evacuated by the Royal Navy. In early September, de Grasse's French fleet defeated a British squadron at the Battle of the Chesapeake, securing control of the bay and cutting Cornwallis off by sea. By late September, Washington and Rochambeau's combined Franco-American army, around 16,000 strong, had encircled Yorktown by land. Siege lines were dug. Artillery moved into place. Over several weeks, Allied batteries pounded British defenses, gradually tightening Tich-Su-Neuse. Night assaults captured key redoubts, famously with French and American troops advancing with unloaded muskets and fixed bayonets to maintain surprise. With defenses crumbling, supplies dwindling, and no relief forthcoming, Cornwallis requested terms. On October 19, 1781, British forces at Yorktown surrendered. The war did not end overnight. Skirmishes continued. British troops still held New York, Charleston, and Savannah for a time. But Yorktown broke the political will in London to continue a costly war with diminishing prospects. Negotiations in Europe began. The American commissioners, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, John Jay, and others, maneuvered carefully, sometimes against the wishes of their French allies, to secure favorable terms. Watch out for the final part.